Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the school committee meeting of Monday, August 22nd, 2022. Very exciting because this is our first meeting of this calendar year. The first item on this evening's agenda, as always, is our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Seeing nothing first off, we have to do our acceptance of minutes. We're going to approve the minutes of June 27th, 2022, and we'll be looking for a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
And we have a second. All those in favor? Thank you very much. Seeing nothing under audience, we're going to take tonight's agenda just slightly out of order, if that's okay. And I know we have our town administrator, Mr. Doug Lapp, with us tonight, and we'll welcome Doug.
Come on up, Doug. Yeah, thank you. While he's taking the podium, I just want to thank him for his work on this elementary solar project that you're about to hear a little bit about. I know I've written to you, we've talked briefly about this. It's something that's going to be going on the roof of the new building, which we're very, very excited about. And I was interested to hear that it's a floating system, that it's a system that they're not drilling holes in the roof, which I found interesting. I don't know, a little tidbit. I will let Mr. Lapp talk to you about it. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Cron, and thank you all for having me. I appreciate it. I'm going to do my best with my reading glasses to navigate seeing you and seeing what's on my paper. So we are here to talk briefly about this proposed solar project for the new Phelps Elementary School. And the reason why I'm here to talk about it is because I'm responsible for all the town's utility bills, including all the school bills. It's not the case in every town, but that's the way it is in Rockland, which does make a lot of sense. But as you know, I don't control the school buildings. You control the school buildings. So it's something that we should work in conjunction with each other, and I want to kind of lay out what we're looking at. And if you're on board, then I'd look for a vote of support to endorse proceeding with this. And again, because you have care and custody of your school buildings, not me. So I've been meeting with the superintendent and the assistant superintendent, your facilities director, and the owner's project manager for the Phelps Elementary School as this idea came up, because I wanted to be careful, not to be unilateral in any way. So we've had a number of really good conversations about this. And what I'm recommending is that we do a rooftop mounted solar project on the school roof. As Dr. Cron said, because it's not a pitched roof, it's a flat roof. It's essentially like a gravity system where there's just the weight holds it there. I'm recommending we go through an independent nonprofit entity called Power Options. And if you're not familiar with them, you can look them up online. It's poweroptions.org. I was familiar with them because the last town that I worked in, we went through Power Options to procure, electricity and gas, because you don't always have to go through the default utility. So I was familiar with this organization, and what's most important about doing that is there's a state law, Mass General Law, Chapter 164, Section 137, which authorizes cities and towns to go through entities like this, and then they take care of all the procurement. So we don't have to worry about bid specs and procurement and all that stuff, because frankly, if we had to do that, we wouldn't be doing this, because I don't have the knowledge or the capacity to be able to do that on my own. But because this is my first time doing a solar project like this, just to give you a little bit of background, I did make sure to check with the State Attorney General's office, the State Inspector General's office, and I also had Town Council review the whole process, and they all confirmed that it's perfectly legal and appropriate to go through Power Options for this type of system. I've also checked a number of their references. They've done dozens and dozens of municipalities across the state. I checked most recently with the towns of Sharon, Brookline, and Fitchburg, and also with the Burlington School Department. But there's many others. They've done things at Harvard University and UMass, et cetera. The basic structure of the deal that we're looking at would be that the town would lease the roof to the solar developer. The solar developer's name is Solect. So we would lease them the roof for 20 years. They will construct and install the solar panels. and will be 100% responsible for all of the maintenance for the entire 20-year term, and they will own the panels, so we're leasing the roof to them. During that time, we'd enter into a 20-year power purchase agreement with the solar company where we would buy the electricity that gets generated. And this is done in a way that's often referred to as behind the meter, which means that it's literally behind the meter, such that the school will be using the electricity generated from those rooftop panels before it goes out into the grid, where there's higher cost electricity, because we have to pay National Grid, not just for the electricity, but also the delivery of it through the transmission lines. So we save a lot because we don't have to pay for that delivery through the transmission lines because it's coming right off the roof. At the end of the lease, the town can purchase the panels or the solar company can remove them. There's an option either way. And the latest information I have is because of this Mass General Law that authorizes these types of arrangements through groups like Power Options, there's not any town meeting votes required. We have already, as a group, confirmed with our building project OPM, the project manager, that the roof structure was designed to carry the weight of solar panels because they had the foresight, even though it's not part of the building project, and I want to be clear about that. This has nothing to do with the MSBA project, nothing to do with the debt exclusion approved by the town. Once that project is done, this is a separate thing that we'll be doing, but we did confirm that it was designed appropriately to withstand that load and has the right conduit for everything to be able to connect. The estimated savings is estimated to be roughly between $25,000 and $45,000 per year for 20 years. So that's when you add it all up, it's a significant amount of savings. That's generally what we're looking at. Again, I was hoping for a vote from you tonight, since it's your building, to authorize me to continue working with the administration and to execute any documents I need to with the solar company and with Power Options. And I want to just thank Dr. Cron and Jane and Mark Sham and our owner's project manager for helping as a team effort thus far. And with that, I'm happy to try to answer any questions if you have any.
First of all, team effort, I think, is a great word. I think, and to rewind a little bit, Mr. Lapp, it's been great having you since you've been here, and the environment that I've observed since you've been here has been very much a team effort between the town side and the school side, and really appreciate that very, very much. In just a second, I'll entertain questions from the committee, just a couple from myself first. I know you mentioned that it's not part of the building project, and it's good to make clear to everybody. Now, we're talking about a solar roof project. This is going to be on the new building, or just the new building, or any other schools, or just the new building?
Just the new building.
Okay, and you said, and I know, Dr. Cron, you'd mentioned this is a floating roof, it's not attached to the roof. Structurally, is there any risk of, I know with high winds and storms, things like that, is there any potential for dislodgement of those, or damage, or liability to the school building, or for any equipment, or folks, that if something should happen that way?
No, that's a good question. We're very confident in this. They've done this system in many, many places, and the most important thing is we have the warranty with our roof, and so everything gets run by all the engineers and the roofing company and their warranty to make sure that it's something everybody's comfortable with. And if everyone's not 100%, we absolutely would not recommend pursuing it. But this is the latest technology, and the beauty of it is it doesn't penetrate the roof, so
Excellent.
we're good.
Excellent. And you said structurally, everything's approved, everything's sort of rated for the weight, the additional weight for all that equipment on the roof?
Exactly, and again, I want to give kudos to the building project team, the committee, from the very beginning, working with the architects, because you all had the foresight to put that into design just in case this was an option down the road.
Excellent, thanks. Questions or concerns from my colleagues? Mrs. Maroney?
Thanks also, Doug, for being here. We appreciate your time. I have a couple questions. Did Sean Burke check to make sure that it wasn't going to mess up the warranty on the new building's roof?
Yes.
That is confirmed. And what happens if it snows, because it is a flat roof? Do they get covered? Who goes up and uncovers the snow off of them?
Yeah, I'd have to check on that. I don't know if anybody actually wipes it clean, or if it's just something that as the snow melts, then it's working again. But
Okay.
I don't recall that in any of the meetings. I don't know if you do either. So I can find out, but I can guarantee that there's no expectation that like school facility staff or anybody like that will have to clean anything off.
Okay, all
Absolutely
I could
not.
imagine was they're trying to do the driveways and the sidewalks,
No,
and now they're
no, no,
climbing
no.
on top of Phelps, trying to clear that snow too. Okay, and do we know how long Power Options has been in business? Like they're gonna be here in 20 years?
I do feel confident with that. I think the main thing to remember is Power Options is sort of the middleman, so to
Okay.
speak. The solar company is Solect. So did you mean Power Options, or did you mean the solar company itself?
The solar company itself, oh, I
Yep.
see it over here.
So
Yeah.
the solar company, their name is Solect. They were founded in 2009. So I certainly can't guarantee
Right.
that, but as I said, they've have over 550 installations in multiple states. You know, they're DCAM certified, and as I said, they're
Okay.
doing projects at Harvard University and UMass, and I feel,
Confident.
and I guess this goes back to the Power Options point, which is Power Options did all that due diligence with their RFPs to make sure that they did the due diligence to make sure it's a reputable company that's gonna be here and can stand by it. So that's why
Okay.
I feel comfortable resting on their due diligence, that
Okay.
independent entity.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Mrs. Hennessy?
How long will the installation take, and is it impacting the opening of the school, or will these be installed before we have kids in the building from a timing perspective of when they were looking? Since it's not part of the project, when were we looking to do
So I
this?
can promise you, we won't do anything that would in any way disrupt school or delay school, or like, we would not let that happen. I know, can't give you a hard time frame now, because, you know, they have a roughly 4-month time frame from design and engineering all the way through commissioning, but a lot of times things get delayed because of the utilities, you know, National Grid.
Right.
So that could delay things, so I can certainly come back as we get further into the design process with a more refined time frame. But I give you my word on camera, like, we won't agree to anything that in any way is gonna disrupt the operations of the school, because that defeats the whole purpose of what we're trying to do.
Yep, thanks.
That's it.
Mrs. Davidson?
Regarding the 20-year maintenance included, what happens after the 20 years?
So after the 20 years, we could have an option to purchase the panels if we want, and then we would own them and be responsible for any maintenance. We wouldn't have to pay anyone for that electricity. It would be ours, so there'd be some good savings there. Or if that's sort of the end of their useful life and there tends to be issues, we can require them to just remove them and restore the roof to its original condition.
Okay. And then do you have any mock photos or design photos to see what they would look like on top of the roof?
So I can give you this, which is, I think this is sort of what you're looking for, so I'll
Yeah,
hand
because
this.
sometimes solar panels don't look, in my opinion, the best on houses, so.
Will they be seen from the roof? I'm sorry to butt in.
I
Will
don't
they-
think they'll be
will
seen
they
from the
be-
roof, and I
right.
can get you more detail on that,
Yeah.
because again, it's a flat roof, it's very tall. They're not gonna be mounted on a pitched roof, so I don't even think you'll see them, to be honest.
So another question, if this is a good idea for the Phelps Elementary School, is it a good idea for the middle and high school?
It could be. That's something we could certainly look at. This was, because this building is brand new and there's the full useful life of the roof ahead of us, I think somebody would have to take a closer look. I don't know how far into the roofs you are here, if they're gonna need to be replaced.
Or if they're rated for that, or what
Right,
have you.
or
Yeah,
it's,
right.
exactly. So
Right.
that's certainly something that could be examined in the future. We just haven't
Okay.
looked at that yet.
This is Dr. Small.
Is there any out-of-pocket expenses?
No,
Yeah.
that's the other, so that's a
Okay.
great question. Not only do we not have to, design it and spec it and do all the procurement, there are no out-of-pocket expenses at all. None, yeah. That's why this law was passed by the state, to help nonprofits and communities do these types of projects.
Excellent. Any other comments, questions? Dr. Cron, your recommendation, oh, I'm sorry,
Okay.
Mrs. Davidson, go ahead.
So, once the school gets enough power from the solar panels, with the remaining electricity that's left over, do you sell that back to National Grid or whoever the vendor is, or do you, is it possible to, because I know you can negotiate your rates and all that.
Right, so I believe it is gonna be, I think it's gonna be unlikely that we're in that scenario, but if it is, we would get credits.
Okay,
So essentially, your meter almost spins backwards a little bit, and we get credits on our account.
okay,
So we would get that benefit, but they're careful to not over-design it. They're careful, we sent them all the utility bills for the existing schools, so they could get and then they looked at the engineering of the new building to get a sense of what the consumption is estimated to be, and they try to size it appropriately.
okay.
Anyone else?
I'll just make a comment that I think is a win-win. I think it's great opportunity to both save money and also to do something good for the environment and to teach the kids to also be thoughtful about everything that we're doing. I think one thing we've seen is that the cost of utilities just continues to rise, and I wonder if this is even a conservative estimate of what the savings will be.
You know, that's a really good point, because part of the benefit of this particular agreement is that there's a fixed price that we're going to be paying over that 20-year term. And as we know, with going through the utility, National Grid, the prices always go up. So yes, this is definitely very beneficial financially.
Anyone else? Dr. Cron, your recommendation,
I
please.
recommend we support this initiative.
Excellent. So we'll be entertaining a motion to support the solar project for the Phelps School elementary roof.
Motion to approve?
Do we have a second?
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much, Mr. Ladd.
Thank you, I appreciate
you.
it, and we'll keep in touch.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up on tonight's agenda, item 4 is reports. Section A, monthly reports for the month of June. We'll be looking for 4 motions and 4 votes. We're looking for, to approve reports for administrators, guidance, nurse, pupil personnel services. So we'll be looking for 4 motions.
4 motions to approve?
Do we have 4 seconds?
4 seconds?
All those in favor? That's a vote. Thank you very much. Next up is financial reports for June. We have 2 reports to approve. We have the high school student activities account and the middle school student activities account, and we'll be looking for 2 motions to approve, assuming there are no questions or comments about them.
2 motions to approve?
2 seconds?
All those in favor? It's a vote. Thank you very much. Next up is newsletter, for your information, newsletter for the summer for Rockland High School and Rogers Middle School, all the good things that have been going on here over the summer. Looking forward to this next upcoming 22-23 school year. Under item 5, old business. Item A, Phelps Elementary School update. Mrs. Davidson, we'll turn it over to you.
I would just like to say the project is moving along, as you can tell if you haven't been down by the schools lately. We just heard from Doug regarding a solar project, and as of now, everything is on schedule. I don't know if you guys have anything to add?
No, we're not meeting in August, but since August is quickly coming to a close, we'll be meeting again in September.
My only thing to add is I had the pleasure to get a tour of that building a few weeks ago, and it was one of my proudest moments ever living in Rockland. What a beautiful building, what a beautiful future. Really proud of our town for the support of continued support of education in our town, and that is a living representative of it. And I'm really excited about this coming January, about our kids getting to be able to step into it. I'm looking forward to, hopefully, and we'll talk about this in the future, about the opportunity for our community to be able to see that building and introduce that building to our community. But be assured, things are coming along really, really well there, and getting to see the inside of it, it's an impressive space that our kids will be able to enjoy for a great many years to come. Next up, under new business, item A, we have requests for fundraisers. We've got a few fundraisers coming up. Eston School is going to be running 3 fundraisers. The Eston PAC in particular is going to be running 3 fundraisers. In November, they're going to be running a gift card scripts fundraiser. They will be running a Name the Circle fundraiser in October, and in October as well, they'll be running a charity softball night. So first up, we'll be looking for 3 motions to approve Eston's fundraisers.
3 motions to approve?
We have 3 seconds.
3 seconds?
All in favor? Thank you. Next up for Rockland High School, the student government is going to be running 2 separate fundraisers. They will be running a car wash. The plan is to run it in September, assuming that a water ban is lifted. We all know that we've been under drought circumstances over the last several weeks, and hopefully that will change given today's downpour. And hopefully we'll be able to get the kids out there to run their car wash fundraiser. The student government will also be running a GoFundMe fundraiser to look for donations in September. So we'll be looking for 2 motions to approve Rockland High School student government fundraisers.
2 motions to approve?
And 2 seconds.
2 seconds?
All those in favor? Thank you. Next up, we have an advertisement proposal for the athletic department, and I believe we have Mr. Kimball here with us tonight to talk a little bit about that. Welcome, Mr. Kimball.
I didn't see him. I was
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me on tonight. So this has kind of been in the works for a few months. When I first assumed the position a few months ago, we were thinking of some initiatives that we could potentially bring up to increase revenue and also exposure for some of our student athletes. And as you can see, we have some infographics, for those of you that are following our Twitter, that have been going out since mid-spring, I would say. So something that I really take a lot of pride in is our Twitter account and the exposure that it gets our kids. And one thing that a lot of the schools in the area and also the colleges are doing are utilizing these infographics. Now, when I was using these and looking at other schools in the area, I realized that Hanover was also using their infographics for advertisements. So I reached out to the athletic director and got a little more information about how they were doing this and what they were doing this for. And I realized that we could monetize these initiatives as well. So I did a couple mock-ups with some real scores, some of our bigger games this past season. We have our girls basketball team in the semifinal versus Medway. The Super Bowl, of course, as you guys can see, obviously in the top right-hand corner, we have a Rockland Trust logo. And then I just did a couple of tweets and how we've been typically using the infographics. So our Twitter account right now, the Rockland Athletic Department Twitter account, has 2,221 followers. So we get a lot of exposure there. The idea is to partner with local businesses in the town for advertisement, but it's also that partnership, right? I think a lot of people in this town take pride in our athletic department and what these kids are doing and how hard they're working. So something else that I did when I started was I developed a student athlete advisory committee. So what I would love to do is utilize some of the funds that we generate with this project, if accepted or approved, would be some of the initiatives that those guys and girls are looking to do, hopefully come to fruition. So we're looking to charge local businesses $500 for an advertisement. We have 21 varsity sports currently offered at Rockland High School. We're looking for 14 sponsorships, and those sponsorships will go out evenly distributed amongst sports whenever we have an infographic posted. Now, every sport typically has an infographic posted for a final score, announcements like summer strength and conditioning programs, weather updates. So I would expect a great deal of infographics to be going out on a weekly basis. So it's great exposure for the businesses for people to see them partnering with the school, and I think it's a good opportunity for our kids as well. I'd welcome any questions.
Questions, comments?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mrs.
Yeah.
Maroney.
Thanks for coming
No
tonight,
problem.
actually.
Thank you for having me.
Any negatives to this? What could go wrong, or what could be something that we're not foreseeing? Has Hanover had any trouble with it?
No, they haven't had any trouble. I mean, I think that, like anything, a lot of our businesses are already being hit up by kids for other fundraisers.
Right.
So that could potentially be a negative. I think it's a positive in that, at least they're getting that exposure, though. And
Right.
the number of people that are going to see this and they see our business's logos on these, I think that people are maybe more prone to go visit as well.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I would say that's probably the only negative that I could foresee.
Okay.
Sure.
I agree with you. I think that the Bulldog pride runs deep in this town. You're one as well, and I think that it's sort of a positive thing for businesses to have their names up there. I do think they'll get a lot of exposure, so
Sure.
thanks for this idea.
Hi, Mr. Kimball.
All right.
From the sponsorships, is it a contract they have to sign? Is it a year's worth of
So it's going to be an annual,
marketing
an
that they're
annual,
buying for $500?
subscription. We're looking to do it every year, so they'll have the 3 seasons, fall, winter, and spring.
Gotcha.
Initially, we had thrown around the idea of potentially like sponsoring a sport, but rather than giving anybody preferential like treatment or anything, we just kind of evenly distribute the wealth there, I guess. And yeah, it would be just for the year, and they would have to re-up at the end of the year. We'll obviously reach out to whoever ends up, signing on for the year, and then if they want to do it again next year, great. If not, we completely understand and appreciate their support for the year.
I have another one. Great idea, first of all. I think it's new and it's a great way to use social media, I think, in this day and age. What are the ideas to use the money for? And
So,
what are we thinking?
I had mentioned really quickly that we started our Student Athlete Advisory Committee.
Yep.
So we were talking about leadership in the school and how it can be improved, right? Everything can always be improved. And one thing that I realized that in a lot of the colleges, they have Student Athlete Advisory Committees. Some of the high schools are starting to take that on. This was one of the things that I wanted to do because I think student voice is very, very important. And, you know, some sports feel as though they're slighted or not getting as much exposure as others. So we formed this committee. Every single sport is represented. So some of the kids already have some ideas. You know, they want to utilize or make our weight room and fitness room better and maybe a little bit more appealing to our female student athletes. So we're trying to, you know, make some changes in there. We could use a little bit of money in there, and that's one of the things that they want to do. So it would go into the athletic revolving account, but I would love for us to be able to support our student athletes. And when they have these ideas or feel as though, you know, they have a great idea and we agree, you know, I think that we could probably pull from this to make those things come true.
Great, thanks.
Anyone else?
I have a question. Hi. So once you get the sponsorship, is there a limit or a maximum that you need to advertise for each individual business? Like, you have to advertise.
So,
Rockland
I mean,
Trust.
we don't really have a dead set
Yeah.
number. I was just gonna more or less explain the situation as I did to you guys here today. Because it's difficult to say how many infographics I'm gonna be putting out. I can almost guarantee every game, so I could count every game for each season and say that's essentially the guarantee and divided by however many we get. The only issue obviously is how many we get. We're gonna cap it at 14, but you know, my hopes are high that we can get 14 local businesses, but we may not be able to. And if we get 8, then obviously that number's gonna change, so.
Thank you.
So just for me, I wear a couple different hats. I'm a big sports fan, big Rockland sports fan. I'm a big Twitter guy. So when I go on Twitter, you kind of scroll through Twitter and some things just kind of scroll by. It doesn't catch your eye, doesn't catch your eye. This catches your eye.
Yeah.
This is something that's cool. This is something that if you're a fan of Rockland soccer or Rockland volleyball or Rockland cheerleading, this pops up on your news feed, it pops. And I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna look at that.
Sure.
And it's really great. I mean, just in that as itself, as a consumer of information on social media and somebody who's a fan of Rockland sports, it's amazing. And we should do this no matter what. But then you add on the business piece. And as a business owner, knowing that eyes are gonna be drawn to this, knowing that people locally are passionate to it, as a business owner or any business owner locally, that only makes sense that that's something you'd want to be a part of.
Sure.
Because a lot of eyes are going to hit that. A lot of eyes are going to be a part of that, and you want to be seeing it as being supportive of it. So I think it makes a lot of sense, both from the athletes and athletics perspective, in the sense that they're going to get greater exposure, more people interested in the accomplishments they're getting on the athletic fields or surfaces, maybe more people at their games, maybe more people interested in the sports, willing to donate to sports or sports items. And certainly for revenue, for businesses that are looking to hitch their wagon to this. So in my opinion, this is a win, 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 win.
Yeah.
And I love it. I think it's great.
Awesome.
I don't think there's any bad to it. And I'm looking forward to scrolling my Twitter feed. And on my other hat, I'm looking forward to hopefully getting an opportunity to advertise here. So.
One. That's one.
Yeah, so, but I think it's great. I just think it's great. I think it's clean, I think it's sharp looking, it's something that'll catch your eye, and I think it'll benefit our student athletes, I think it'll benefit our sports programs, and for any business that's willing to be a part of it, I encourage it, and I think that you'll benefit from it too.
Yeah, for sure.
So that being said,
I have one more question
Go ahead,
before you go.
please.
The infographics, is that handled by you, or are we engaging any of the creative areas in the high school? Like,
So-
is there I forget what the classes are when you get to like social media,
It's a great
visual
question,
arts
yeah.
and stuff like that?
Yeah, I
Is there
mean, I'd
opportunity
be more
to-
than willing to open that up, and if any of our classes want to take on working with us, absolutely. Yeah, it's been me the whole time.
Okay.
But again, with the SAAC, one of the 2 positions are going to be social media coordinators. So we have one boy and one girl from the committee that I'm going to teach how to use this as well, and they'll be doing it as well. They'll send it through me first to make sure before they post that it's okay. But yeah, I'm happy to have those 2 working on these as well. And just to kind of speak a little bit more about it, you know, as you can see with the boys lacrosse team, at the end of the year, you know, everybody wanted a graphic. You know, the girls soccer team won one before their game. I didn't post it up here, but it was on Twitter. They were all just really excited to get their faces out there, I think. And again, it's just good exposure in general. You know, some of our guys and girls are going on to play at the next level, so we can tag them on Twitter, and social media is so intertwined with virtually all aspects of life now, as we all know. And, you know, we have kids that are trying to get recruited this year, and, you know, it's just a good way for them to get their faces out there.
All good.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? All right, we'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve?
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Mr. Kimball, great job. I think that's awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Looking forward to
Thank you.
seeing it.
Appreciate
Looking forward to reading up on that. Item C, daycare MOA. Dr. Cron.
Turn that over to Mrs. Hackett.
Thank you. This is one of our, last, we have 2 more to go in our contract negotiation year. And this is very similar to all the others, the 3-year. There's a correction, what we're referring to as a correction, which is an upfront increase to get them within the minimum wage realm, and then a 2.5% going forward for 3 years.
Excellent. Any questions, comments?
I would just like to say that this unit has worked, and Janet Tate has worked extremely hard to professionalize this group of employees and provide professional development and ongoing coaching to them over the course of the last year. And it's really a wonderful program that benefits our employees, both as teachers, but also for the police and fire, and for the Rockland community on the whole. Just it's affordable, it's local, it's Rockland, and it works for families, and it's really one of our hidden gems.
And not only have they worked hard at it, but they've succeeded.
Correct.
I mean, they've improved that program immensely in recent years. I mean, none of us who've been around long enough to remember some previous trials and tribulations that we've been through. That institution has come a really long way, and it's due to Janet and Marissa and every single person working there at that daycare, and of course, all those cute little kids that come through that door.
And their parents, and, and guardians.
Yes,
It's a wonderful
indeed.
community.
Indeed. Questions, comments from the committee? All right, that said, we'll entertain a motion to approve our daycare MOA.
Motion to approve?
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you. Item D, school opening report, Dr. Cron.
Thank you.
the podium.
Welcome back. Just a few opening thoughts, just some updates. So actually, I'm going to throw a lot at you, so hang on tight, hopefully. There we go. So last week, we had our annual administrative retreat at the Rockland Golf Course. It was excellent. It was time to regroup and recharge, take a look at our strategic plan, do some work together. We are welcoming our new teachers this week on Thursday and Friday. And this Friday at 8 a.m. is our new teacher breakfast, our annual breakfast with our new teachers. That's always a lot of fun. All teachers are back on Monday, with our convocation being this year on Tuesday instead of Monday, and that's at 8 a.m. in the auditorium. So we'll have all the faculty and staff together on Tuesday at 8 a.m. in the auditorium. The elementary open house is Monday, August 29th at all 3 schools. I believe that starts at 6:15. The first day of school for students in grades 1 through 12 is August 31st. The first day for preschool and kindergarten is September 7th. X2 is live for student schedules. You hear those fingers just burning them up. However, bus routes have gone out, but they're preliminary at this time. We're doing our best to accommodate everyone's requests. And they are posted on X2, and once they are final, we will send out an email. Breakfast and lunch is again free this year, but free and reduced lunch applications for the public, it's very, very important to us that you fill these out. The accuracy of the data that we file with the state determines our funding. And so it's incredibly important that everyone fill out the free and reduced lunch application, even though breakfast and lunch is free this year. Students will have to pay for snacks. Before and after school program registration has gone out, so folks who are trying to make their plans, that is all available on our website. The Phelps Timeline, just want to sort of remind people in broad strokes of what's going on with the new school this year. In October, we expect the building to be completed, fundamentally completed. We will be moving Memorial Park in January, just Memorial Park. We need to clear out Memorial Park so that we can take down Memorial Park, build parking for the school, and build the lit turf field. There'll be a summer move-in for Jefferson and Eston. So Jefferson and Eston are remaining intact for the entire school year. Michelle Shifley and Marilyn Smith will remain in their buildings. They will be also going to the Phelps building beginning in January to sort of be back and forth to help Jan and to get a sense of how things flow in this new space, so that especially Michelle, who will be the principal of the Phelps School, will have a really good sense of how the school works and how best to set things up. So things as simple as milk delivery, where, when, what times do we want them, where do we want them delivered, all kinds of subtle things that make the trains run on time. I want to make sure that Michelle has plenty of time in the new building to make that happen. Professional Development Committee, I just wanted to give a shout out to Rebecca for the work with the Professional Development Committee. We have about 25 faculty and staff from across the district who have worked together to put together our professional development program for this year. And one of the things that I asked for Rebecca Kidwell to complete for us is a professional development catalog. So every teacher, when they walk in on day one this year, is going to receive a professional development sort of handbook, and it's going to explain what we offer, how we offer it, what their recertification requirements are, how to recertify, all kinds of helpful information. But again, this is something that I asked for Ms. Kidwell to take control of, and she has done a great job with the team. Security update. So there are a few security updates that we're making coming into this new school year. Just didn't want anyone to be surprised, particularly parents. Together with the town and in concert with the Rockland Police Department, we are adding a second school resource officer to our team this year. So that process is underway. Waiting to hear from Ethan what the timeline is, but we have procured a spot for whoever this new officer is in the training program that is happening in Randolph in September. So I do know that the Rockland Police have procured a spot for whoever that officer is. It's a week-long program, and then they come to us, and they're hopefully ready to start. So we're very excited to bring that second SRO on this year. We are employing elementary parents, especially. You want to pay attention to this. If you're a parent at the Eston or the Jefferson, we are employing a new pickup and drop-off system, and it's going to be a little weird at first because it's new, and anything that's new is going to be challenging. But we promise you that it will keep our kids safer, and it will eventually result in a seamless and happy pickup and drop-off. But we're employing some technology that allows the people who are our teachers and to put in, say, Billy is getting picked up by Dad this afternoon, and it's all going to be digitally coordinated, and people, when they're picking up their child, will show a pass to pick up their child. They will be scanned. There's all kinds of technology being used, and it's just helping us tighten up our process for pickup and drop-off at our elementaries. Memorial Park, because of their parking situation this year and because of the construction, they're going to stay with the system that they've been using because it works well for them at Memorial Park. So Memorial Park will stay the same, but they will switch over when they move into the Phelps School. So the Memorial Park students will be using this new drop-off system in January. Principals will be sending out information to parents from each building, so there'll be lots of training on this. A reminder to all parents, student pickup, when you're picking up a child at school for a dentist appointment or whatever, please bring a valid driver's license or government-issued ID card to school to pick up a child. If you do not have a government-issued ID, we will work together with you on that to make that happen. A passport would suffice. We're also, obviously, we want people to be able to pick up their children, and if you happen to not have a driver's license, we will make arrangements for you to have a valid ID that you can use to pick up your child. Okay. That's the update. Now I'm sort of moving on to the superintendent's report. Would that be okay, Jeremy?
Next up,
Well,
item
before-
7, superintendent's report.
Maybe
Dr.
some
Crum.
questions. maybe
Well,
some
it's not a
questions.
question,
Yeah.
but could Ms. Kidwell send us a copy of the professional development catalog?
Oh, absolutely.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen it, so.
She wasn't, well,
Whenever it's
she's
ready.
making final edits. I tried to pry it out of her hands the other day, but she wouldn't give it to me. She said it's not quite ready.
It'd be great to see what
Yeah,
is being
no,
offered
it's,
to our
yeah,
faculty.
yeah, it's exciting. Okay.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Regarding the new, it sounds like electronic system for
Mm-hmm.
drop-off and pickup, is there going to be like a training at one of the open houses for the parents or explained in detail?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like that might be,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
It's gonna,
it's going to be challenging.
Yeah.
No matter, the principals are going to send out some things, some newsletters and some information. But I still expect that on day one, it'll be a little bit of a challenge because
Right.
they do have to hand out cards to the drivers and it'll be a new system.
right.
But we're confident that when the system is implemented, we're going to be better for it.
So it's
Yeah,
a
smoother.
actual paper card, non-electronic card?
I believe it's a plastic card.
plastic card, very similar to a driver's license.
Okay.
And you'll have to have it, and it's scanned, and it interfaces with our X2 system for allowance for pickup or drop-off, and identifies the person is allowed to
Pick 'em up.
take the student.
Okay.
Yeah, and if, for example, if someone were to be there to pick up a child who was on the do not release list, that would show up to the administrator or the teacher, and it actually sends an automatic message to the principal and to the police that that's happening. So there's some safeguards in place for our students and our families.
Yeah, it sounds like a great
Yeah.
system. It just, I know people don't like new things
I
every once in a
know,
while.
I know,
Yeah.
I know, yeah, so we're gonna do our best, and hopefully everyone will be nice and patient.
I have a question about
Sure.
that too. If you have a child who's, like, has two guardians that don't reside together, will there be cards for each guardian?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Absolutely,
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
That's one of the reasons why it's great for us to start while we're in 3 separate buildings.
Yep,
So we can work out all these kinks before it comes together, and then it'll just be the incoming classes in the first grade, but we will eventually be implementing it at the kindergarten level too, so the training will come all the way up, and again, starting small and working bigger.
great.
Good, and just one last thing about security, to folks, in the public, one of the reasons that we took such a hard look at security this year was because I did have a family who came in who had, some questions about building security, and we had a great conversation. And I told them that as a result of this conversation, I was going to have more conversations, and some of these efforts are the results of those conversations. So I say that because we really are a public school, and we really are a learning organization, and we always want to get better. So thank you to that family who stopped in. And if I didn't have such a bad short-term memory, I'd know their name. Okay. Most of you know we have a new 5-year strategic plan. I'm going to give you just a quick introduction to it tonight because I want to introduce it to our faculty in the coming days and weeks, and I like to present things to you first. So just by way of background, we had a consultant, Dr. Ruth Gilbert Whitner. She was the superintendent in Whitman-Hanson for many, many years. And we used DESE's, the Department of Education's Planning for Success model, which is a very scripted way to do a strategic plan. And quite honestly, it's a very time-consuming way to do it. There are much quicker ways to do strategic planning, but this was an excellent method, so we're glad we chose it. The planning team worked, which was the large group, worked over had 4 3-hour meetings. And this planning team included, and I think this is extremely important, parents, teachers, and students. Planning, we had our first retreat back in April 5th. That included the leadership team. So that's all of the principals, and, well, you'll see the list of people. Then we had another leadership team retreat. That's just the senior admin. Then the planning team, you get it. Those are the dates that we met. And then action planning is what the senior administration did with all of that work. So you have strategic initiatives, which I will show you, and strategic plans that come from the initiatives. These are the folks who worked on the strategic plan. I want to especially thank our students and our parents and our teachers for their work. I will just read their names: Chelsea Amaral, Eileen Carey, who's a paraprofessional, Nicole Cedrone, class of 25, Fred Damon, our high school dean of students, Lori Donovan, our middle school adjustment counselor, Jade Frenny, a Jefferson teacher, Holly Gage, a Memorial Park adjustment counselor, Liam Griffin, our assistant principal at the middle school, Kelly Gustafson, a parent, and you know Ms. Hackett, Melissa Harris, our middle school assistant principal, Dr. Harrison was on the committee, Rebecca Kidwell, our assistant superintendent, Freya Leahy, department head, Mary Kate Leon Cavello, class of 23, Dr. Maniglia, our very own Jill Maroney was on this committee, Kathy Paulding, John Piazza Jr., our high school, our district-wide music department head, Lisa Scanlon, an Estons teacher, Michelle Shifley, Cheryl Shipper, Jan Sheehan, Mark Shaw, Marilyn Smith, and Tim Wells. And no one likes to be read to, but I just think it's important to actually say their names. They gave many, many hours for this plan. So just to, again, just very quickly introduce the plan. The vision stayed the same. Our vision is to Rockland Public Schools to empower students to excel, lead, and become dynamic and successful members of our global society. Our core values stayed essentially the same with some subtle changes: achievement, character, inclusion, and perseverance. We believe all students can learn, grow, and succeed. I think the key word in that is all. We believe that all students can. Character, we believe in accountability, integrity, respect, and responsibility to ourselves and our community. Inclusion, we made some changes to this core value. We believe in a welcoming, safe, collaborative, and equitable learning environment. And perseverance, we believe in working hard to accomplish our goals, especially when faced with challenges. So these core values guide us. I think they're things that everyone in this room can agree on. Defining them is a very different undertaking. Our strategic objectives, we settled on 5. The first strategic objective is something that I think is near and dear to the heart of this committee, and that has to do with transitions. Transitions from one level to another, from preschool to kindergarten, from elementary to middle, middle to high, and high school to college and work. So we are going to focus on these transitions and work hard to make sure that we're supporting families and students in these transitions. Number 2, promote policies and practices and procedures for an inclusive climate, culture, and equitable access with opportunities for all stakeholders. Strategic objective 3 is about a comprehensive curriculum, pre-K to 12, which engages all students. And 4 is embedding social emotional learning, informed practices across the Rockland Public Schools. And then finally, and this did not change, strategically manage our resources to support programs, infrastructure, and initiatives that reflect our district's core values. So how we spend our money reflects our beliefs and our values, and all this says is that we are going to, when we have to make difficult decisions, we're going to make sure that we base them on what's best for all students. So within transitions, which was the first strategic objective, we have 5 initiatives. We chose one initiative to focus on this year. So this year we're going to focus on initiative 1.1, which is establishing building level transition teams between grade levels from early childhood to elementary to middle to high school. In our second strategic objective, we are looking at 9 initiatives within this objective, and we are going to focus on 2.1 this year, which is narrowing achievement gaps for at-risk students. Under our third strategic objectives, we are looking at curriculum, and we are going to focus on 3.2 this year, which is reestablish PD committees and develop a comprehensive plan district-wide, which we have done, but now we need to implement. And finally, social emotional learning, we are going to focus on 4.5, which is include social emotional learning in professional development, such as responsive classroom and trauma-informed practices. I have just said about 10,000 words at you, and I apologize because no one likes to be spoken to that long. And finally, resource allocation. We are looking at, and Ms. Hackett is working hard to integrate financial and operating systems to maximize efficiencies and improve data integrity. The one thing to really take from that is the accuracy of our data is incredibly important to our financial stability. So having accurate data in and reporting accurate data to the state in a timely manner, it affects our grants, it affects our Chapter 70. It's incredibly important, and it's something that Jane has worked very, very hard on over the past couple of years. So I appreciate that very much. And I am done talking at you. Do you have any questions? I just wanted to roll it out so you got an overview of what we did last year, a sense of where we are, and we're very, very excited. This is going to be a phenomenal year.
Comments, questions from the committee?
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I think it's so amazing to see us being able to pivot away from being reactionary to the circumstances that are put on us and being proactive and getting back to focusing on students and, you know, how we're supporting them. So besides the content, just the whole idea that we're talking about this is one that makes me very happy.
Amen.
Good.
Once this is, I guess, shared with the rest of the faculty, I believe it gets posted on our website as well, right? For anyone here who's watching, any parent, family, anyone that wants to see it, to understand the direction in the next 5 years, we welcome their feedback as well,
Absolutely.
right? Just to, I think a lot of times they don't see those plans behind the scenes. So just putting it out there that it is something that is accessible to anyone that wants to take a look at it. So,
I
that's it.
agree. Anyone else? Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
great.
you.
So the last item of business on tonight's agenda is all meetings, is our public service announcements. We'll start with Mrs. Hennessy.
Well, I guess I wanted to say, hope everyone had a great summer. It went by really fast. Wanted to welcome all the new faculty, as well as the new families and students that are new to our district. Want to also say welcome, I guess, to the newest learners, to those going into kindergarten. Welcome to the, you know, they might have been in preschool already, but we're excited and to have them as part of our Bulldog community officially. I don't know what class they are, like 20, 35 or something. But thank you for trusting us with your kids, and I hope you are okay on the first day of kindergarten, and I'm sure the kids will love being part of the school system.
Excellent,
That's
thank you. Mrs. Maroney.
I was going to also say welcome back, but I was thinking that I would reach out to the students and say this is a new year with a fresh start. Make it a great one. Be in charge of who you are. Be kind to others. Remember that you should be a friend, and not everyone is having a good day all the time, but being a good friend helps. And go Bulldogs as always. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Davidson.
I would just like to say, enjoy the last week of summer. More schedules and routines and alarm clocks start going off, and get that summer reading done if you haven't started. And enjoy. Just embrace the last week.
Thank you. Dr. Small.
So also going to welcome everybody back and wish them a fabulous 2022 to 2023 school year. I'm going to go a little bit against your advice and say that now's the time to get back into a routine. Don't wait till the night before school starts to start going to bed on time. Start turning those clocks back, start getting ready, and be prepared so that you have a great start to the new school year.
Thank you. I'm going to change what I was going to say. So Dr. Small, you said something a minute ago that struck me about being excited about entering a new school year, turning a page. We've been through some stuff in these last couple of years outside of our own control based upon the pandemic and national events and national ideologies. And I just want to make a promise to my colleagues, to faculty and staff at Rockland High School, to the kids and the families, that no matter what happens this year, and I think tonight this is going to be a pretty good year, but no matter what happens this year, this school committee member, and I have confidence that these school committee members will do one very simple thing, and that is what is best for kids, no matter what. No matter what the right thinks, no matter what the left thinks, no matter what is political, no matter what is on the news, no matter what's on the sidewalks outside the schools here, we're going to do what's best for kids. And you might disagree with that, and I'm sorry, and we're just going to do the best thing we can. We're all moms, we're all dads, this is a volunteer thing, and all I can promise you is that I'm going to do what's best for my kids, what's best for your kids, what's best for the taxpayers, and what's best for the student body of Rockland Public Schools, and you have my word on that. With that being said, we'll entertain a motion to conclude tonight's meeting.
Motion to adjourn?
Do we have a second? All those in favor? That is a vote. Thank you very much. Looking forward to a great school year. Have a great night from David Cable Murphy Studios.